Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen.
And I'm John Johnson.
And you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books,
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, comics we want to read, and everything in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today we are doing another horror book for this fantastic month of October. And it is called Harrow County, Countless Haints is the first volume of this series. And it is a Darkhorse book. I know Darkhorse is kind of like it's an indie publisher. They usually did, or like back in the day, they used to have a lot more like licensed stuff like Aliens, Predator, Conan, stuff like that. And that, I mean, we've done Conan before. So Conan is like my favorite fucking series from them. But they did some good like Aliens books and stuff too. So have you read much Darkhorse stuff that you know
of? The only Darkhorse stuff I like, there's some Star Wars.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did. They had another license. Yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars Legacies. And like I read some of the Alien versus Predator stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically what they're mainly known for. But then they do stuff like 300 by Frank Miller and like Sin City, some of those things. So they do original stuff as well. But they're kind of originally were known for that. But they're also their biggest thing, I think, is Hellblazer. I mean, not Hellblazer, Hellboy. Hellboy by Mike Mignola is like their biggest, I think, property that they like publish. And like, I don't know, there's so many spin-offs. Like there's every character has their own spin-off. So like, and even the BPRD where he works has its own spin-off. So like, I think a lot of their stuff comes from that. But for the most part, like they don't do a lot of, original work. So this was kind of stood out to me. I always kind of wanted to read it because the covers are super creepy. Like the first cover has like a boy's skin like in a drawer, like his, I don't know, like if you just ripped his skin off of his body in like one swoop, and then like it's just empty and it's like hanging around.
But then like there's yellow eyes still. It's really creepy.
It's creepy. Cool. Creepy stuff. So, but yeah, so this is like from 2015. It's a book by Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook. Cullen Bunn, I've only read one of his other things. He did Conan the Slayer, little miniseries for Darkhorse too, and that was a good Conan run. So, I enjoyed that. But this book is like his original book, and Tyler Crook, I've never heard of either, but he does great, like cool watercolor, like painted art. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, the art in this is wonderful. Like, yeah. and it's very different from most of the stuff we've read. Like you said, it's like watercolory.
Yeah, it definitely stands out.
Yeah, very much so.
And it's not avant-garde or like interpretational or anything. It's like really well done, but also just it's like sets itself aside from other stuff really well. And this first volume is 4 issues long, so it's a nice short volume. It's kind of like,
short and sweet.
Yeah, short and sweet, easy to pick up, and just like burn through. Like this is one of those things where like it sets the story up, it leaves you hanging on a mystery, makes you wanting more. Does a really good job of not like over telling stuff and just like reveals things as it needs to. Just keeps you interested in like, wait, what's going on? Like, oh, okay, like we're understanding some of this stuff, and then keeps a real creepy vibe through the whole thing. So. But first things first, we said the name of this title, or the name of this volume, is called Countless Haints. What is a haint, John?
Well, before this, I had maybe heard it, but I didn't correlate anything.
I had never heard this word before.
I was like, is that like it makes me think haunt, but like
Haintful ain'ts.
Yeah, it honestly, yeah, haint. It's such a like can't and ain't, like there's such a like a hard like that,
right?
So yeah, it I was like, what is that?
Yeah, basically I looked it up because I was like, I don't know what that is. It's basically like ghosts or like hauntings from like bad past events or whatever that stick with you or whatever. So yeah, it makes sense because it's kind of like haunted, or maybe it's like maybe it was the older word for haunted
or something that ain't good. Haints.
Yeah, there you go. Hauntings that ain't good. Haints. I like that. So right away, this issue kind of starts off with a bang, or a burn, as we call it. The townsfolk of Harrow County are burning a witch, or they're about to burn a witch named Hester Beck, who they've already shot, stabbed, and beaten, and are hanging her in a tree. And she's just smiling down at them like she ain't dying or dead at all. And we don't know why, but like they kind of go like and explain that at first like the townsfolk were cool with her because she would like heal them and like whenever they were sick with stuff. And then there was like rumors of like her doing like weird baptisms and stuff in the river with like the children. And teaching them like witchcraft stuff. And then there was like then we heard of rumors of Congress with the beasts and like, you know, stuff like that. And then, you know, then also like stealing infants to feed those beasts and all these things. So like, you know, just as these things do, they get out of hand.
Got out of hand.
And so,
look, we really appreciate my mom had typhoid fever, and we really appreciate you taking care of that, but you can't eat little Jimmy.
Yeah, please.
So
James is new. He can't defend himself. So, you know, I thought that was like a cool opening. I mean, it's pretty like standard as far as like what you would expect from like a witch book. But then we're introduced right away because to the main character, her name's Emmy, and she wakes up and it's like she was dreaming this stuff going on. And so she's having these weird dreams about a witch, about the tree that's in her front yard that's like got a big scar in it, and she doesn't know why. She's about to turn 18. And so she's like, they kind of show stuff going on with her, but they don't really explain everything going on. Like she finds like a calf, like a one of the cows has two babies, one of them's dead and the other one's dying, and then like she goes in with the calf. She's like, it's okay, like you'll be fine.
And Pa's like, I'm gonna go get my gun. It's gonna die. We got to put it down.
Yeah, and then like magically the cow's fine, and they don't explain it really, which I was like, oh okay, like
they didn't explain, but it was kind of it was a little fun because like he comes out and she's like, or he comes out with the gun and she's like, oh, it's okay, he's fine now. All of a sudden he's like, all right,
yeah,
nothing's weird here. Definitely nothing going on. And then like they have people come in from I guess out of town. They come through every once in a while, bringing like
his name is Raya and Bernice,
dry goods, and like they like so Bernice and Emmy are like, hey, Emmy's like, let's come check out the new baby calf, and she's like, okay, and Raya and Pa are talking, and like this is kind of where we start getting a hint, and it's also like there's a little bit of that, like, again, Dad's like, nope, nothing weird going on here.
Nothing wrong. I haven't seen anything. What? Weird dreams.
Right,
haven't
like,
heard nothing about them.
Hey, she's getting close to the age. She's coming of age and all. You know, if you notice anything, like, nope, definitely nothing weird going on in this farm. Everything's okay.
No signs here. No calves. No calves being brought back to life or anything. Like,
nope, nothing weird here. I just like,
yeah. So like basically, like we see something's weird. Like the town folk know something's up with her. Something's coming of age with her. We don't know what it is exactly, but she goes off on her own one day, and like while she's walking in the woods, she's like feels trapped at the farm. She says like, I've ever since like I'm about to turn 18, I start feeling like I don't want to be stuck here. She even brings up with Bernice like hey, Bernice is like, oh, you're about to turn 18. You can go to the city and like find a boy and marry him or whatever she wants to do as a woman who is strong on her own. And she's like, yeah, that'd be great, but I don't think, I don't want to leave Pa by himself and, all this stuff. So, and we never know his name. His name's just Pa.
His name's Pa throughout the whole thing.
But, yeah, like she is realizing right now that she's about to turn 18, which is when she's supposed to possibly be able to leave. But she can't because of Pa, but also like she kind of wants to like get away from this little town, this small farm or whatever. And so she's walking kind of like thinking of these things, and all of a sudden she sees like a boy across like a stream, and she's like, hey, what's that? Like, hey, who are you or whatever? And she starts following him, and like she follows him to like this thicket of thorns, and there's like a hole in it, and she's like, oh, let me like crawl on my knees to go in there. And she's getting all cut up and everything. Yeah, exactly. This is a great idea. And then like she sees all this blood like bleeding in there. She's like, what the fuck? Like, so like, yeah.
So she keeps going.
Follow the blood. Follow the blood is what you learn. And she's getting all scraped up, and she goes in there, and then she sees this boy's skin just hanging on the thorns, and she's like, what, like, what's going on, and then it starts to talk to her, and then that's when the issue ends. It's like, what the fuck? And so very creepy way to end issue 1. Then like issue 2 picks up pretty much right away. She's like running back home with the skin. She like wraps it up and puts it in her bag. Like she just folds it like a shirt or whatever. And he's like, stop.
Yeah. He's like, please. She's like, shh, be quiet.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, I gotta like get back before my dad sees. So she sneaks back in the house, changes her like clothes, and then she notices as her dad walks in and be like, hey honey, I saw you come in, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. She like puts the boy's skin in like, I was gonna say the body, but he doesn't have a body yet, and so the boy's skin in like her chest of drawers, just like a shirt, basically, just like folds it up and
you get in there and be quiet.
And then so the dad comes in and is like, are you okay? And she had just changed out of her clothes. And yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm fine, but I got a little scratch. And she looks at her hands, and her hands are all not scratched, even though she remembers getting scratched and stuff. So it's like, we're seeing, okay, she like can't be hurt. That's another sign of like,
she healed real quickly.
Yeah, she heals well. And then basically we see there's like, and this was funny. This kind of reminded me of like Arrested Development when Tobias has got his blue hands all over the place, but the body of this boy is actually following her around. So this dude looks like Hellraiser, like in the first Hellraiser when Uncle Frank rises out of the floor and he's got his body. That's what it's like. It's like him without skin, but all the muscle and sinew and everything, and he's all bloody, and he's got yellow eyes though. But like, he's just like following her around, like kind of helping her as needed whenever she gets in scrapes later on. But he's leaving like bloody handprints on windowsills and shit, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, that's not creepy at all. So one night, I guess like following, I don't know, the day of or the night after this or whatever, but she wakes up to the skin like saying, the tree, the tree, you gotta wake up the tree or whatever.
Like, I know about the tree. It's over there and it's creepy.
And she like looks out the window and sees all the adults in the town like talking, and then she's like, what? Like, that's weird. They're all like around this tree. And then the body or the skin starts saying like, hey, like that witch, we got to get her. And she's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, we have to burn the witch. It's almost of age and blah, blah, blah. And so she realizes that they're talking about her. And actually what's going on is the boy's body, his like sinewy, muscly body without skin, is in the tree listening to them. And it's like it's like a two-way radio. Like it can tell what it's hearing, So it's talking to her, the skin is talking to her what the body's hearing. So she knows now, like, all the grown-ups are trying to kill her, and or like they're deciding that they should kill her. And she even like hears her dad be like, I guess we have to kill the witch or whatever. So then she like packs everything and runs away into the woods before anybody gets back. And Pa comes home and he like, honey, I gotta talk. Oh shit. Like,
how you gotta run and make this more difficult.
Yeah. So she runs away into the woods, and she's walking, and she runs into Bernice, who was Raya's daughter. They were the ones talking about like, going to the city and meeting a beau or whatever. And Bernice is kind of like, she doesn't know what's going on, but she's like on her side. I didn't know if she was like,
she said that she was going to, I think she had overheard something too, but she didn't quite understand.
Yeah, like she didn't believe him. Like, she's not a witch. Emmy's not bad or whatever.
She's like, like my dad and some of these other town folk were going to see your dad about something crazy going on. They're gonna get you or something. So I was basically coming to see you. Yeah.
And so they're walking and stuff, and she has the skin of the boy wrapped in her like satchel, and it keeps trying to be like, so, Emmy, let me tell you something. And then like Bernice is like, what the fuck is that? Like,
where's that voice coming from?
Yeah, what is that? And so like she's like, nothing, it's nothing, and she's like telling it to shut up or whatever. And then they walk into like a clearing in the woods, and then it's like a graveyard, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, there's this weird graveyard, and then these like fiery ghosts appear and just kind of surround them, and they're like freaking out. as you would if like fire ghosts appeared, and they're like skeletons that are like burning alive or burning, I guess, and they're not. Well, and that's like where the issue ends, so you don't know like what they're doing there. But issue 3 begins with them in the same spot, and basically the ghosts kind of like they're coming in towards them, and then she says like stop it or whatever, and then they like stop, and so like they're listening to her. They actually like listen to what she says, and she's like, that's weird. And so Bernice is like, that's really weird. Like, what the fuck? And so she's like, yeah, I don't know why they're listening to me, but like, let's just get the fuck out of here. So, and then it says like the ghosts like let her pass, and she's like, let us go, you know. But they're like, they're thinking to themselves because they can't talk, like, but don't go this way, please. And she like goes the way that they say. Like,
yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. It was like they kept getting in her way as they were like walking around, and
yeah, they're like trying to stop her, but they're listening to her.
Yeah, they're like, if they still had voices and whatnot, they would tell her like, yeah, you can go, just don't go this way.
Yeah, and so they let her go reluctantly, and like her and Bernice are running, and right away they like run into Pa, and Pa's like, you know, of course I know, you know, where you would run to hide because, you know, you're my daughter and I know you real well. And we also find out like they show this scene. She has a dream of this scene, so I wasn't sure if it was true, but earlier she had a dream of like the tree and everything, and it was like lightning struck the tree. And then, like, that's where they found her. Or they found a girl there. And that's when Pa was like, I guess I'll raise her or whatever, you know. So, like, that's actually how she was born. And we didn't say this at the beginning, but when the witch was burned alive, she, like, cursed them. And said, like, I will be reborn. And, you know, like, you will all die or whatever. So, that's why they're, like, looking for, and you know, a girl who wasn't born of natural...
Yeah.
Whatever it would be called, of natural means, like they know like she's gonna be a witch when she turns 18. Apparently,
that was a cool scene because like they heard something and they went back to the tree, and then it's like the area that had gotten sealed up from they tried to fix the tree as best they could after the lightning strike, so they
put concrete, I guess, in the hole.
So yeah, at least so it would like stay standing, and then they heard like some kind of whimpering, and when they opened it up, there was a young girl in there. They pulled her out, and there was like another body behind that of, I assume, the witch. Yeah.
And that it was a little confusing. I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait, they pull the girl out, but then there's a body there. I don't know. It wasn't like 100% like I get it. And also it was a dream, so I'm like, what is this like fully real or what's going on? So
her dreams were really like vivid, and that's one thing going to the art. When they have her dream sequences, the
coloring gets interesting.
Yeah, the coloring is very vibrant, and I like the first time she dreams about the tree, like where the scar in the concrete has been patched on the tree. She has it. It looks like a mouth, and it's got like teeth and whatnot. It was really cool looking.
I was gonna say yes, it looks like a mouth when it gives it teeth, but then it also looks like a vagina because it's like where she gave birth or whatever. So I was like, okay, like that's interesting. There's like multiple things. Like she's scared of it, but also it's like where she was born kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. And so she runs into Pa, and Pa's like, I'm sorry to do this. And he's got a shotgun, but he's like, I don't know why he decides to do this instead. He's like, I'm sorry to do this, but like, you know, like the evil must be cleansed or basically something like that. And like he puts the gun down and he like starts choking her. And
he had a perfectly good shotgun.
Yeah, but it's probably good because shotgun's more permanent, I would think, or whatever. So, but he starts choking her, and he's choking her pretty good. She's about to die, or at least he thinks so. And then all of a sudden, the skin's body comes out of the trees and starts attacking him, saves her, and it's like it says it has the strength of 6 men, and it's clawing at him and biting him. And I was like, "Fuck!" Her dad's face is like gone. But apparently he did a really good job of self-defense because, he's bloody and beaten up. But like, I don't know. I would think if 6 men were attacking you,
I thought it was gonna be worse.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be much worse.
I thought he was gonna get up and be like, "Oh,
yeah, like my face is ripped off." Like if a chimpanzee attacks you or something, it bites off my fingers or some shit and pulls my face off. So, it seemed like it did some damage, but not that much. And she tells it to stop. She's like, "No." At first, it's weird. 'Cause she has like this moment of like, "Yes." Like, that's what you get. You fucking, you tried to kill me, Pa, or whatever. Then she has like a moment of clarity and goes like, okay, no, I can't. I don't want to be a monster. Like she actually decides for herself, like, I don't want to be this monster that they're telling me I am. And if I let him die, then I will be. So she saves her dad, and her dad's like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I like got caught up in this fervor. Yeah, like he just, everything made sense. Like these signs were showing. I was told this evil thing was going to happen. All the people were down with it. So like, I just kind of went along with it. And I'm sorry. Like basically, I won't ever do that again. And thank you for letting me live or whatever. And you're not a monster. And so she's like, cool. And then Bernice is like, oh fuck, because like she saw the skin in the bag and like this like skinless body and all this shit, like, and it's listening to Emmy, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna stay here with your dad. like now you are a witch and I don't believe that you're good or whatever. So it seems like she's not friends with her anymore. And then so Emmy's like, okay, fuck it, and she leaves completely. And she goes in the woods on her own now, and she's like walking, and then there's this like demon.
It's the one of the beasts that we saw with that.
Yeah, like at the beginning it said like she had Congress with a beast, and it looks like that beast. So
yeah, it's kind of like a big bull kind of creature. It's very, very large.
Yeah, but it's got like four horns and it's got extra eyes and stuff. So it looks like a demon something, and it looks bad. So, but then it starts talking to her, and it's like, hey, you gone now? Like
it surprised me
back.
Because like, yeah, I guess he's living in this like old rundown shack in the woods, and at first he's like, hey, you're back, and she's like, yeah, I don't know, who are you? Like, what is this?
She doesn't remember anything, and he seems to know her, and he's like, oh no, remember that mean stay or whatever, like you leave again.
Yeah, he like breaks the lantern that she's got, and he kind of.
I said he seemed needy, like he's like a boyfriend that you dumped, but he like
Well, he has this like ragey moment. He breaks the lantern. He's like, oh, like why don't you remember me? Like you were supposed to like stay here with me, and like we were gonna
like, best friends.
Yeah, and then like nothing really happens. She like is like and like he gets pushed down, and she like kicks him off of her, and she runs away. And then instead of like giving chase, he's kind of like, no, why you don't leave again.
Yeah. He's like a weird emo.
Yeah.
Or something.
It was not like he's this gigantic monster demon of a creature, and then he's like, oh, don't go.
Yeah, please don't go. And he talks in like a weird like broken English or whatever, so it's kind of funny. But then so she's running from this thing that like she doesn't know what the fuck it is. And she runs into like this road that's going like a backwoods dirt road or whatever. And as she does, a car almost hits her, and then this guy comes out and he's like, hey, Emmy, what are you doing out here so far? And right away I was like, this dude is fucking creepy. But she's like, oh, hey, Mr. Sorrel. And apparently he's like the pharmacist. And she didn't really know him too well. Like she's like, he didn't seem like he was part of that group of adults who wants to murder me. So like, he's like, you need a ride somewhere? And she's like, yeah, I need a ride home. He's like, okay. Or no, I need a ride to town is what she says. And he's like, okay. So he's giving her a ride to town. He starts talking to her, and he's like, what's going on or whatever. And then as she's talking, he like puts chloroform on her face and a rag. And he's like, shh.
She's gonna be okay.
And she wakes up in his house, and she's all tied up. So right away, I was kind of like, uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly, because we don't know where this is going. And I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite art panels in the comic so far, is that because she gets chloroform, and then it's like a 4 long panels on the page, and it's like the first one's black, and this is where the watercolor really comes in beautifully, in my opinion, because the next one, it's him standing in front of her like real close up, kind of like, hey there, sleepyhead, but like it's distorted, and like the way the watercolor like it's very like wobbly, and like your eye, like you're rubbing your eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next panel, it's much clearer, and then by the last one, when he's like, hey, like, when he starts telling her the story, it's super clear. I just thought that was a really cool progression, and I thought it was really well done. It's where this is like another just like, oh, this art is awesome. It really stands out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, can't say enough about how good the art is in this book, or like how different it is. It might not be like the best art I've ever seen or something, but it like really stands out. It sets itself different from everything else, so sets itself apart. And so basically, this is the only thing that I was kind of like, okay, this is the info dump. Like this is the what's going on for the reader kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, but it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense fully. But basically, Mr. Sorrel is like, oh, you don't remember, do you? Well, let me remind you, because basically, back in the past, Hester the witch, before she was burned, told this guy, Mr. Sorrel, hey, when I come back, I'm going to need you to remind me of who I am and all this stuff. So he's been waiting for her to be revealed, and then now he's finally got her, and he'll tell her who she is. And so we find out that in the beginning of this area, I don't know what, Hester was around, and she made all these, all the like demons and Haints, because she was bored. She's like, oh, I want to like make friends. So she like made all these beings to like be friends with her, but they're kind of too, they don't argue with her. They don't challenge her. They're just, we'll do whatever you say. Yeah,
That good.
You're hilarious or whatever, you know, like that's a great joke, you know, like they just agree with her all the time. So she gets bored with that. And then she comes up with an idea to make humans out of mud to like fit in with this town that's nearby, which is Harrow County. So she like makes a bunch of people out of mud and gives them free will to like, do their thing, but also like to like be friendly with her. And so they, at first they like let her, they're friendly with her. They make, nice with everybody in the town. They become part of the town. And like Hester is liked by everybody. They get like, basically they spread goodwill about her. Like, oh, she like heals people and stuff. And so that's how Hester gets like welcomed into the town at first. But then rumors start, as they do with the witch. And I guess maybe these monsters were around, because of that. And so I don't think she was actually doing any of those things, because they said rumors at the beginning. I don't think she was fucking these beasts or
I don't think so either.
Babies or anything.
I think the normal people of the town were freaked out, and then they corrupted the mud creature-y people that she gave that free will.
Yeah, like basically it says like they were easy to corrupt because they had free will. So they became suspicious and then also joined in with the rumors and all that stuff. So that's
most of them.
Yeah, most of them. And so Mr. Sorrel was one of the guys who wasn't, and that's why she like said, hey, you get to be the person that wakes me up when they kill me or whatever. So and so also he tells her like, and that's why you can control some of the people, like that's why her dad is able to, like, she can tell him what to do and he'll do it, or like that's why she can tell the ghosts what to do and they did it. So like she knows like where she comes from and why she can control some of the people and like beings around. And so she wants to get out of here, obviously, because it's like, I don't know, it's weird that he tied her up. I don't know if he was gonna like just tell her that and then untie her, but it seemed creepier than that. I don't know why. But like, but then out of nowhere,
I think anytime an old man ties up a young girl,
that's probably what it is. I think.
Yeah, it's a creepy factor that is not there normally.
Yeah. And so like as she's like just learns this stuff, and Mr. Sorrel's like, and that's why you're you or whatever, and the body of the skinned boy comes and attacks him. I assume kills him, because it just kind of cuts away and she's free.
Yeah.
So like, it kills him. It frees her. She runs home, and when she gets home, she like runs into like all the adults are in now in Pa's house, and he's like, "Look, she's not evil, okay? Like she's different. Like maybe she has the ability to be evil, but she's choosing not to be." And the other townspeople are like, "No, you can't change your ways if you're a witch or whatever."
And it's this fun little moment because Emmy's like, "No, like listen to me. Just as you guys have free will, like I realize
I don't want to be a monster.
Yeah, I realize where it come from, and I don't want to be a monster." She like gives this like little like kind of like listen to me, like I promise speech, and then like
one of the guys,
he's like, "Nah, we've heard this before. I don't believe you."
Yeah, get her. And so he like jumps at her, and she just like vaporizes him like in front. She just like with her hand and like vaporizes him in front of them, and she's like, "Anybody else got anything to say?" But basically, like everybody's like, okay, like let's make a deal. Like obviously you have power and you could kill us if you wanted, but it seems like you're serious about not wanting to be a monster. So like, let's make an agreement. So basically, she lives with Pa like normal. The townsfolk agree to like let her live in peace as long as she doesn't like start being creepy witch lady, and like she'll heal people like she did before, and it's all good, and that's what she chooses. And but it's kind of left at like a creepy note because all the monsters and everything that she raised before are still in the woods, like the demon thing is still lurking around, and the body of the boy that's skinned is still hanging around. So it's kind of weird and creepy.
Yeah, it was cute. Like it showed that some time had passed, obviously, and like Dad's feeding chickens in the yard. She's just sitting on the porch, like kind of breathing, being like accepting life. And then it's like under the porch, like an old like farm dog would be. It's the little skinned boy, just like
yeah. And you're like, is he like part of this, or like is he accepting of this, or is he like waiting to? Is he biding his time for something else or something? I'm not sure. And so it left it kind of like a creepy note, but everybody's like happy at the moment. And then it cuts to some city. We don't know what city. It had like trolleys and stuff. So I'm thinking maybe San Francisco, but I'm not sure. And also this is set in like the 20s or something, right? Like
it seemed like it, yeah.
All the cars are old style, and it was like the 20s or the 30s or something like that. So the cities all had trolleys back then. So I don't know which one this was, but basically it cuts to like some really fancy fucking place, and like this guy's like, Mr. Cammy, like don't you have somewhere to be, or like what do you think of this area, this whole city? And she's like, she turns and it looks really a lot like Emmy, but it's someone named Cammy, and she's like this city belongs to me, the whole world belongs to me. So it's like
yeah,
like wait, is that like her evil or something, or what's going on?
I was like, I didn't there were two things that crossed my mind. I was like, is this like a projection of like the future that is to come for Emmy, and maybe she assumes something else? Is this like a counterpart to her somewhere else in the world? Which
maybe because she like chose to be good, the evil side of her came out somewhere else or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Either way, it was like, whoa, that was a cool twist different end I did not see coming.
Yeah. But I thought it was really good overall, like a good solid, mystery story arc of like what's going on with this girl, and she wants to be a witch, but she wants to be good, or she is a witch, but she wants to be good, and doesn't want to be bad.
Wants to be a good witch.
People. Yeah, she wants to be a Sabrina or something, So, but yeah, on that note, anything else you wanted to hit? Or?
No, man. I mean, like you said, I really the art really stood out to me in this one. I keep coming back to it because it was really nice.
Yeah, that was good, and the writing was really tight. Like the only part that was kind of like okay was like the info dump where he's like, "This is who you really are," and gave us like everything. But we need that as so they did it in like the best way possible, kind of thing. So yeah, what would you give it on?
Overall, it was a really fun read. I again, it's another series that I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to read more. I want to see where this is going.
Yeah.
And then the art to me was, like I said, stood out. It was really different and cool. And I've always been a fan of art in general. I like watercolor. I always think it translates into some really pretty imagery. And I was like, in a comic book form, I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. It works. It's neat.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it an 8.
Nice. I'm gonna give this one. I'm going to give this one a 7.5. 7.
Bring back the half.
7.5, I think. Like it's good, but it's not like right now. As of right now, it's not like groundbreaking or anything, but it's like solid. It's like if I read this trade, if I bought it, I would buy the second one right afterwards, like because I want to know what happens. So, and it's like since it's an original work from Darkhorse, that's kind of unique in its own thing. Like I said, not many original things come out of Darkhorse, so it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, with the art in this and the writing being what it was, like, it's pretty much flawless as like a first trade. It's short and sweet, and it like gets everything across real well. So 7.5 for me, 8 for John. I think next week, what are we reading next week?
Next week, what are we reading? We're keeping it horror themed. Pretty much everything we're reading this month's got some kind of obviously horror to it. 30 Days of Night. That's what.
Yes, 30 Days of Night.
This is cool because I know of this. I've never read it, and I've never even watched the movie. So
Yeah, well, we should watch the
It's
movie
about
after we
vampires.
read it. But yeah, this is, if you haven't heard of 30 Days of Night, it is fantastic. It's got art by Ben Templesmith. I believe it's written by Steve Niles, who's like a pretty well-known horror writer in comics. And yeah, so if you guys want to read that ahead of time and hear our thoughts on it, or just get it spoiled by us, go ahead and do that. And then and on that note, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email us at planes, trains, and comic books, all one word, at gmail.com.
And don't forget to check out our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channel for exclusive content. We've got a lot of more fun stuff coming out for our 13 comics of Halloween, so keep an eye out.
Yeah, check that one out. And
The next spooky one.
Spookies. Yeah, we're what are we on, issue 7 or something?
I think we're right in the dead middle.
Yeah, we're in the middle. So we're halfway through that. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. If you are, let us know. Give us a comment or an email or something. And we'll see you guys next time.
On the next spooky one.
Bye. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed that episode.
If you did and you'd like to follow us on social media, our Facebook is Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, and our Instagram is @Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word.
And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more recommendations to add to your weekly pull list.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.